they know that they love their cottage, but they don't see it through your eye as a photographer. And they don't understand that these places don't necessarily always look this beautiful when you walk up on them. It's the way that we capture them and tell the story of them. Because I mean, I've taken a photo walking down a trail and it doesn't look like anything, but then when you get the couple there and you're there at the right time when the light's perfect and you have a professional camera, so a lot of the times they kind of have an idea of what they want and you just need to kind of reassure them on it and make it happen for them. So
yeah, I love that. It's kind of like giving them permission to do it where they want to.
Yeah. And we all say that, like we all post the Instagram post. It's like, we are up for anything. Just tell us, just ask us. And, but we really mean it. I love going to random cottages. That like builds me up. It fills my soul. I'm like, yes, I didn't even know this existed. And this is so cool. And they're like, really? This is just like my family cottage since the 1900s. And I'm like, it's perfect.
When I first started my wedding photography business back in 2011, I made just $5,000 in my business. Now, I bring in multiple six figures per year while working only 30-hour weeks serving my dream couples. I'm here to help you discover that it's so possible to have what you want when you want in your business so that you can create the life you've always dreamed of and deserve. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Shine and Thrive podcast, episode number 60. I can't believe that there's a 6 at the beginning of that number. I'm so excited that I have created so many episodes along the way and the compound effect is real. Like it's just like out of nowhere, you just do one thing at a time, one step at a time, create one episode at a time. And then before you know it, it's like getting closer to 100. I'm like, holy crap, where has time gone? But for today, I'm really excited to have Evelyn as a guest on the podcast. And I admire her work so much and her as a human and as an entrepreneur that, oh my gosh, I'm just so excited for you guys to listen in on all the value that Evelyn has to offer with just her whole experience with being a photographer in the industry for a while. We always have so much to learn from anyone and everyone around us. And so I'm excited to dive into chatting with Evelyn. So Evelyn, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I can't wait.
Yeah, of course. And I was going to say your visual, I wish everyone could see the visual of like us chatting because we're chatting on Zoom because she's in her studio, which is like a dress rental shop in Muskoka. And she just has like the most beautiful like boho like decor up and all that stuff. And I'm literally obsessed with her shop. If you guys want to check it out, it's called Daughters of Indie on Instagram and website and all that. It's so beautiful. And I was telling her, I'm like, I'm so jealous of your light. I wish I had that warm tone in my office. I need to like figure out some lighting here. But so Evelyn, as we decided, we're going to go into a fun Would You Rather game to start. Are you ready?
Oh yeah. Hit me with the questions. Ooh.
Hit me with your best shot. I don't know why that came to me when you're like, hit me. Okay. So there's 5 questions. So the first one, but you're like 5. The first one is, would you rather only be able to read a book for a year or watch Netflix for a year? You can only have one or the other.
I don't watch a lot of TV because we don't have internet or TV at our house. So I feel like I'd be at this point in my life, I'd be sadder without books.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And I'm like, I should have rephrased that question as, would you rather only read books? I'm like, a book, like one book.
Oh yeah, true.
So books or Netflix. Yeah. So yeah, books. Oh my. Yeah. Is there a book that comes to mind right away that you have loved diving into?
I'm pretty obsessed with any self-help book. Like I'm addicted to reading and just kind of, growing. So not one specifically. I love all of them. I'm reading Atomic Habits right now for the second time. It's a good one.
That is a good one.
Yeah,
I did the audiobook version of it, but I'm like, is there something about like underlining and highlighting main points that helped me so much. So that's awesome. Okay. Would you rather be able to travel to the future or the past for 1 month?
Probably the past, because I think knowing the future would just I think that would mess me up, Does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally know what
I
you
don't know.
mean.
I feel like the future is that would be a bit too much, because then you obviously have to come back, or yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Because then how everything changes, and then it's just like a trip of like knowing as you move closer to those changes. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I know that.
And at least like going to the past, you could be like nostalgic and actually live out your nostalgia.
I would love that. Yeah, I think past.
Awesome. Sure. Okay, this next question is a doozy.
Oh gosh.
I always have to have a poop question.
I'm fully anticipated that, Sarah.
Okay, would you rather shit your pants on a wedding day secretly or puke in the middle of a ceremony for everyone to see?
I guess, like, am I allowed to know whether I have a change of clothes for the poop, or I don't?
You don't.
I think like I'd rather puke in front of everyone, because then there's no lingering effect. It's just like,
yeah,
I could play it off. I could say something like, "I'm so sorry, it's morning sickness," or something. I don't know.
That's true.
Play it off.
That's true.
Yeah.
And everyone's kind of understanding of, I don't know, but yeah, poop would have a smell. It would have the squishiness.
Exactly. My poop would linger for the rest of the day.
So funny. Okay. I probably know your answer to this next one. We'll see though. Would you rather live in the extreme cold for a year or the extreme heat?
Oh, I love the cold. Yeah, I think I'd rather live in I'm so sorry, my phone is going crazy.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. You're just so popular.
Off. Okay, there. Didn't do it again. Yeah, okay, extreme cold for sure, because I don't do well in the really, really hot, I don't think. Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about this. Evelyn loves to run in the cold, and I'm like, what? No, thank you.
Yes.
I love running in the warmth and the heat.
Oh, I don't. I die. I'm like, okay, I can't breathe. I'm sweating. I'm so sticky. Yeah, I always revert back to not running in the summer. So,
yeah, that's funny. Okay. And last one, would you rather be forced to dance every time you heard music or be forced to sing along to any song you heard?
Okay, wait, repeat that. Forced to, what was it?
Would you rather be forced to dance every time you heard music or be forced to sing along to any song you heard?
I think sing along, because I'm very embarrassed of my dancing. Yeah, I would not want to do that.
That makes sense. Yeah, for all the dancers, they're like, oh yeah, I would easily dance. But for all the non-dancers, it's like, no, thank you.
I know you would dance, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, 100%. Awesome. Well, those are,
because I see you do it and I'm like, that looks so fun and free and cool. But
oh, it's so fun. Oh my gosh. We need to, I'll teach you like the basics when we see each other next. I'll teach you like the basic shuffle move, and then it's because it's kind of easy to learn. It just takes some practice, but then once you know it, you can just shuffle to any song. It's like the best.
All right, we'll see.
Awesome. Well, for everybody that doesn't know you, in Ontario, maybe people are from, the US, outside of Ontario, maybe let them know a little bit about what kind of photography you love to focus on and just a little bit about you. So maybe, what hobbies and interests you have or anything that excites you about life.
Sure. Okay. So yeah, I'm Evelyn Barkey, and I'm mainly a photographer, and I definitely specialize and love intimate weddings, elopements, adventure photography, just like anything outdoors in nature, kind of middle of nowhere. I love to focus on the experience and just what we're doing together. And then the photos are kind of a secondary, and we're just having a really great time doing something that we enjoy. So that is probably just a snapshot, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. And then I also am, just very ambitious with being an entrepreneur. I have a couple other businesses. Photography is for sure my number one, but yeah, I have a few other businesses as well. And yeah, I just really like starting companies and kind of seeing where my fears will lead me and conquering them and trying new things. Definitely always trying new things. And yeah, love being outdoors. I have a 3-year-old, What else do you want to know?
That's awesome. No, I love that. And
Well,
just so peeps can know, what are your other businesses? So
yeah,
everybody can
so
know.
we're like a month away from opening our first Airbnb. So we bought a cottage, gutted it, renovated it, and we're opening up an Airbnb. So this will be our first season doing that. And that's super fun because I love designing and finding super overlooked kind of rundown places and making them lovely and kind of new again. And then I also have the dress rental shop, which you mentioned, Daughters of Indie. And we also have a little retail store where we sell just like home goods and secondhand thrifted items and things like that. And the dress rental studio is something new as well. We only started it last May. So it's been going really, really well, considering kind of starting during a pandemic. It's been a bit different, but only uphill climbs from here. So yeah, that's been really fun. And I love doing that. It's kind of a sustainable take on wearing a dress and renting it versus buying one brand new for your photo shoot or your event or your wedding. And yeah. And then I also have like a little card business, but that's sort of let's like not even get into that.
Serial entrepreneur. No, I love it. And you're so freaking talented at like designing and putting things together. Like it's just something that I always admire when people have that skill and talent. It's just not something that like I have the patience for even, but like I have so much appreciation for the beauty of it. So yeah, you're super good at everything that you do. It's incredible.
Nice.
Okay. So actually, yeah, to touch on the, what you mentioned of how you mentioned that to you photos are secondary. I love that so much. I think the same way in when I document wedding days, I'm just like, it's not about the photos. It's about them living out an experience, right? That we create. So I love that you said that. So yeah, maybe just to get into the conversation, I would love to hear, overall, like how are you able to cultivate an experience for couples that you're passionate about and that you know will have value for them outside of the photos?
For sure. I think a lot of that took time. You kind of start your business and you sort of feel out what you like and what people are responding to, and you make some missteps along the way. But a lot of it sort of starts with the intention behind your work and what you're sharing and how you're communicating through your work to attract those people. So once I started to really understand the power of that, like branding myself and targeting specific people, and really like you talk about this niching down and specializing in something that I love, it ultimately attracted similar like-minded people, which has been super lovely. But then beyond that, I like to try to really get to know my clients and plan something that is connected to them on a deeper level than we got engaged and we want to capture our engagement session. And I'm like, okay, but like, let's go deeper. What do you love to do together? How can we create an experience that kind of shows that in these images and tell a story and create a really fun memory and experience for you that goes beyond getting these photos back and printing them for your save the dates or sharing them online. Like I want this to be really, really fun, like a date. And so then I'll work to get to know them. And I have a little questionnaire that I send out to help with that. And then we'll often hop on a call. And a lot of the times I'm spending at least 2 hours with a couple for their engagement session or a photo shoot and we're not shooting that whole time, but
yeah,
I just want to be with them and I want to do something fun. And like I said in my intro, the photos are secondary. Of course they are the primary. That's why they're there. But the pressure's off when we're enjoying an experience together. But then you're still getting all of those moments that they really want in a lot more of an organic way, if that makes sense.
I love that. Yeah, totally. And how do you feel like, so for example, do you ever feel overwhelmed with trying to navigate so many different couples and creating like custom experiences for them? Or after some time, you've created like a system that's like efficient for you in a way, right? Because we need to think about like valuing our own time, right? While also, creating the time and space to create something custom for them. So do you ever get overwhelmed, or do you feel like you have a good system in place to just be able to find that information from them and then be able to suggest like a custom experience for them?
Yeah. So there's obviously always the time that someone sees a photo in my portfolio and they're like, I want exactly that. And then I'm like, okay, well, I totally get why, because you're coming to me because you know that I love to go out and to the forest and make bonfires and like have fun doing. And a lot of the sessions are kind of similar in some ways. And for a while I was like, oh, this doesn't feel unique anymore. But then I realized that I just needed to kind of shift my perspective. And so now if the couple has a place that they love to go together, I think I've heard you say this before too. And I was like, yeah, I think the same way. If you have a cottage like, I don't want to tell you where to go. Of course I can suggest locations and I know a ton of them, but if you have a cottage or a trail or somewhere that is really, really true to your relationship and somewhere that you've spent a lot of time, I want to come there. So that's the first way. If they do have something like that, then that's going to help make a unique experience for me. And I can have a bonfire with 15 couples and it turns out different every single time.
Yeah.
The weather's different, their relationship's different, the way they interact with each other. So I don't get too hung up on the similarities. And I think it's like once you do something 100 times, it doesn't feel like a lot of work. So I could have 100 conversations with different couples about how they want to do their engagement session, but it doesn't feel like it's hard work, you know? It's like planning a retreat. Oh, there's an ambulance going by.
Oh, it's okay.
It's like planning a retreat. When you do it the first time, it's super, super intimidating. And then as you get practice at it, it doesn't feel, I don't feel like it's a lot of work to spend time doing that in the beginning stages before I meet my couples.
Yeah.
But I also understand the boundaries of like, if you give too much of yourself, then you don't have any time left. But
yeah. No, I love that because like I actually find for me, if I just ask them what they like to do together or like a spot that's meaningful for them, it makes it so easy because they just say that. And then I think of like, okay, well, let's go to your cottage or let's start in your home. And it's like there, location planned, done, chosen. Timing of the day, obviously the last like 2 hours of the day, right? For the best light. So it kind of makes it easy. Like for me, actually, because I dabble in like branding sessions on the side. Like if, you know, someone reaches out and I have space in my calendar, space and time, especially last year through 2020, I did that. To me takes like more effort because like every business is so much more unique with like location, coloring, all of that. So that seems a little bit more overwhelming, but like, yeah, I love that you mentioned that it's kind of like, well, first of all, if you just ask them what they're passionate about or what means a lot to them, you can get re-excited, even if it's a similar type of situation. And then on top of that, it's so efficient, even just for planning purposes. So that's
and a lot of the
super
time
cool.
They kind of know what they want, but they need you to reassure them and get hyped about it. Like they know that they love their cottage, but they're like, they don't see it through your eye as a photographer. So, and they don't understand that these places don't necessarily always look this beautiful when you walk up on them. It's the way that we capture them and tell the story of them that kind of, because I mean, I've taken a photo walking down a trail and it doesn't look like anything, but then when you get the couple there and you're there at the right time when the light's perfect and you have a professional camera, I mean, so a lot of the times they kind of have an idea of what they want and you just need to kind of reassure them on it and make it happen for them. So
I love that. It's kind of like giving them permission to do it where they want to.
Yeah. And we all say that, like we all post the Instagram post. It's like, we are up for anything. Just tell us, just ask us. And, but we really mean it because you probably have some really cool ideas and some fresh ideas. And we're interested in kind of doing something different and unique and seeing new places. I love going to random cottages. That like fills me up. It fills my soul. I'm like, yes, I didn't even know this existed. And this is so cool. And they're like, really, this is just like my family cottage since the 1900s. And I'm like, it's perfect. I love it. Like,
it's so true. But isn't it funny if we like take a pause and look around in our life, it's like, this is the home that we spend every day. And to us, it's like, yeah, it's like what we see every day. It's not like the usual. Like, why would we plan if we were maybe not photographers? Maybe the way we think is like, why would we plan something so special, like an engagement session right here? Well, this is where we are every day. Shouldn't it be somewhere different? But like for like different types of photographers, like if you're more of a storytelling photographer or you want to make sure that couples have a memory of like this chapter in their lives of like where they spent every single day or every single weekend, like at a cottage, then it kind of makes them realize like, oh yeah, like if we have these photos, we actually have beautiful photos plus on top of that memories of that place.
Exactly. You may spend so much time there, but when have you actually ever had a professional come and capture that, and it just adds so much more depth and meaning behind those photos for us too. Like the story is way easier than showing up in a field and shooting and trying to create that somewhere they'd never been before. So yeah, I like that. I definitely try to focus on making them helping me to kind of come up with a plan versus just suggesting it to them and taking that away, because it's so powerful.
I love that. And actually, I would love to dive into the conversation, because last time we chatted, you mentioned that at one point you were more of like a bright and airy photographer, and then you had to transition from that style to where you are now. And I would love to just like get insight of like how you experienced being that bright and airy photographer, why you were creating work that was like that at that point, and then why you transitioned.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a long story, but I know we chatted about it on the phone before. I started shooting medium format film, and I loved it because it was just so different, and it was a little more technical, and it felt super artsy. And my sister-in-law was actually a film photographer, so I just kind of gravitated, and I loved her photos. It very much suited her lifestyle. And kind of like we all do when we're trying to figure out who we are and what we want to do, we sometimes look to others, which, as we know, is kind of just a distraction from where we're meant to be going. But unfortunately, it happens to all of us. And so, I started shooting medium format film, and I was good at it. It was super beautiful. I had lots of clients. But I just felt like I could never post what I was doing on a weekend on my feed because it didn't match. Like I would take these super beautiful landscape photos on the lake, and they were just kind of a little bit more natural, and I wouldn't say dark and moody, but just like a little bit, definitely on the scale of bright and airy. I was towards the darker and moodier in my personal life, and super adventurous. And then my film photography is a lot more limited. Like you're very posy because your camera can't capture a movement in the same way. I don't know. I just took so long kind of feeling very disconnected, and I would show up to shoots and people would be kind of surprised that I was the person taking these photos, and not in like a, oh, we don't like you way, just this isn't what we expected. And I'm like, I kind of see that. But it just took me so long to figure it out and to actually listen to what my body was like and my passion was trying to show me. So then I had to make this cold turkey switch when I realized, and go from, which I already had weddings booked and like clients booked for a year ahead, because that's how it works. And then I had to, kind of be like, okay, whoa, you are so off track. And how did we get here? Because you're not connected to this work at all. And yes, of course you're successful, but that doesn't, it's kind of unfortunate, because then I'm successful at something that I'm not connected to. And it just felt very, I could have avoided all of that if I had to spend a little bit more time being self-aware. Then I ended up obviously switching everything over, and it unfolded very naturally from there. And kind of like my success skyrocketed after I learned that about myself and kind of let go of. How
did you feel like throughout the part where you were kind of like shooting more bright and airy and creating that kind of work, even though you were noticing a pattern in your personal life of creating kind of almost opposite work? What made you feel stuck for so long in that space?
Just realizing how much I'd invested in for my film equipment and how much time and energy I'd put into building this style online. I was like, how do I just switch it now? And then all of the expectations of all my clients. And then because I did have a period where I was still shooting bright and airy for my clients and just not sharing it because they'd booked me. And I was like, I'm more than capable of continuing to shoot that for you. And you've booked with me and I'm happy to provide that service, but that's not what I'm showing in my portfolio anymore. I just stayed stuck for a while because I didn't know how to get out because I was so far into it. And it was drastic. Like it was very black and white. Like this is looks like a whole different photographer took this photo than this one.
But how did it feel like once you decided and you like made that like plunge and commitment? Like how did you feel?
Oh, so much better. It's like just a huge weight lifted off you, right? You're like, yes, this is so much more natural and so much less forced. And I can really explore this side of my personality now that I didn't. I was kind of like not paying attention to for so long.
Yeah.
I mean,
And for the,
go ahead.
sorry, keep going.
No, okay. You go ahead.
For the switch, because I know a lot of like, I had to do a switch like that. I went from kind of like more Pinterest perfect photos to more messy documentary style. And so like for me, it wasn't it's not like I went from like a really bright style to a darker style. It was more like the shooting style shifted. And so I had to experience that transition, but I feel like our transitions were just a little bit different in like the transition that it was. But I think that we both approached it in the same way, like with the clients that we already have booked. So maybe Evelyn, if you can like talk about how did you go about transitioning with already booked clients for those that are listening and are like, I want to transition too, but I'm so terrified to like, I'm terrified of what my clients will think. Will they want to like not keep me? Like, how do I switch? How do I transition?
Yeah, I think that's super important because I'm sure there's a lot of people listening that have felt that. And ultimately that's what we want to talk about is like our life experiences that can help you in situations like that. For me, it was, and for me always with anything, it's just honesty, honest with yourself, honest with your clients, and letting them know that, like obviously everybody evolves as they're growing in their businesses and their personal lives. And you get to this point where you realize what's better for you. And maybe your clients might even be excited about that shift, because it's, a lot of my clients didn't super care. They were just like, we love you, we love your work, and whatever you do is wonderful. And I think we put a lot more pressure on ourselves and we pay a lot more attention than they do in a lot of ways. But giving them the choice, like to choose, and then opening yourself up, because if you do that and you make that step, you could wait forever. And if you don't do that, you could wait forever. And then you're still in this situation 2 years from now, a year from now, 2 months from now. So you have to have that
just deeper into the hole, because then your referrals could be linked to your old work when like all you want to do is create something new. And it's like, the longer you wait, the more harder it becomes in a way.
Exactly. And it's just like a short-term discomfort for a long-term gain. Like, you're going to be a little uncomfortable. You need to be real with yourself and with them and accept that, it will be a little bit awkward, and just be honest. And I'm feeling really pulled to this new style. What do you think? I'm more than happy to capture your session in this old style, because obviously you've been doing it for a while and you're more than capable. I mean, that is up to you. You don't have to choose to do that. You could let them go. I'm a little bit of a people pleaser, so I was like, I will finish out these commitments in the way that I said I would. And then, please don't feel bad if I'm not sharing them, because I don't want to continue putting that out there and having more people hire me for this style when I'm no longer, I mean, you don't need to say that, but you're no longer connected to it. And it's not serving you and because it's important. It's important to be passionate. And I wanted to talk about that too a little bit. It's just like passion and how do you find it and stuff like that. So
I love that. And I think the way that I think it's so important that when you do send that email is to communicate everything like very like honestly, but also even share the benefit that they would get, and share that at the end of the day, you're there for them. So whichever style they prefer, you will 100% be happy to do. And just like Evelyn mentioned, like just make sure that if you choose this like older style that I shot and I don't share it, just please don't be offended. It's just, I'm trying to, as an artist, transition. And as I've, grown over the years and changed, we all change over time. I've just changed how I see the world a little bit, and please don't be offended. And I'm sure people will understand. So I love that advice.
Wow.
Yeah.
People value so much. Like, it truly is everything.
Yeah. I totally get it. You're trying to get noticed and you don't know how. I mean, raise your hand if wondering where your next booking will come from keeps you up at night. I know how that feels like. I was there once too. But I'm about to help you get clear on how to increase your bookings and inquiries. After coaching many portrait and wedding photographers, I realized they all had one thing in common that was holding them back from booking their dream clients. They didn't know how to market themselves. Once they got clarity on how to show up and put what they learned from me into action, they began to book more of their dream clients. And now I'm excited to help you do the same. So I've created a mini course called Crystal Clear Marketing to, you guessed it, help you get crystal clear on how to attract and book your dream clients. I mean, the year I implemented this, my revenue grew from $69,000 to $137,000 in just 1 year. So if I can do it, you can do it too. So in case you're wondering, inside of the Crystal Clear Marketing mini course, I share how to optimize your website so that more of your dream clients inquire and book, how to go from being a generalist to becoming a specialist, and why it matters, how to find out who you are at your core and fuse it fearlessly into your business. Also, how to show up on IG so you attract quality followers. That's so important. How to make the money you deserve while feeling fulfilled with your work, and how to make marketing effortless and fun, because it should be. Running our business should be fun. So what I'm so excited to share with you is that I've made this very affordable. So to get all the deets and enroll in this mini course, go to saramonika.com/crystal clear. Again, head over to saramonika.com/crystal clear. I cannot wait to see you in there. And also with you mentioning, you said you're like, I want to talk about like how to actually find that thing that you're passionate about in photography and maybe how to document. So maybe, yeah, expand on that a little bit of like how someone, if they're feeling lost, right? Like, who am I as an artist? Like, what do I want to focus on shooting?
It's so hard.
Yeah.
I had some notes written down too about just how hard it can be to find what you're passionate about in this day and age where we're so heavily influenced and a lot of the times unconsciously online.
Yeah.
It's muddy and it creates a disconnect between who you are and what the style that you want and the experience that you want to create for your clients, because you're just always being influenced by all of these other people, whether you realize it or not. And then somewhere in that, we kind of lose ourselves. Or we start feeling like we're not unique or we don't have anything new to offer and we doubt ourselves and we're just focusing our energy in the wrong places. And everyone that you talk to has dealt with that. We've all dealt with that. It doesn't matter who you are in the industry. And so I think a lot of the times it's just about if you need to, just take a break and really keep a journal, start to pay attention to when you leave a shoot and you feel just incredible, like why are you feeling that way? What made you feel that way? What was it about this session that was different from the last one? Where were you? Like who, what, where, when, why type thing. And it's taken me a long time to realize, and also just like looking at your work and picking through the photos and being like, okay, that really speaks to me. And why does it speak to me? And being so intentional with being self-aware. So for me, like a lot of my work, and I've only just kind of realized this in the last year, it's so deeply rooted in my childhood, which is so interesting. So like and so many photographers will tell you that. So maybe there's something to look into there, but it's all things that I deeply enjoyed as a kid and sparked my curiosity and just brought me pure joy. And yeah, so I think it's about exploring yourself, and everybody says that, but we're really doing the work to explore yourself and trying to compete with yourself versus other people. I hear that a lot in like a lot of the self-help books. It's like, compete with yourself, not everyone else. And like, we weren't meant to uphold the opinions and relationships of thousands of people. And social media has made that something that we feel like we need to do. And then we're losing ourselves. And yeah, it's crazy. We're looking for affirmation and it's just very distracting to be looking for affirmation from other people all the time. And instead of getting to know ourselves deeper and I don't know.
It's so true. Everything you just said is so golden and so important. And I love how you mentioned that no matter what photographer you're talking to, we have gone through this and it's like a cycle. We don't just go through it once where we're comparing ourselves to someone else, doubting our own work and thinking, should I go in that direction? Because as artists, we're always evolving and changing. And so we have to make decisions along the way. Like, am I evolving and changing based on what everyone else is doing in the industry, or am I doing it based on who I am at my core and what I want to offer?
Yeah.
So I think that's so important that you mentioned
Just
that.
stop trying to like prove yourself to everyone online.
It's exhausting.
It's so exhausting. And trust me, like you said, I still deal with that all the time. And then I have to just take breaks and touch in with myself and be like, okay, where are we right now? Like, how do we get here? How do we get out of here? Like, why am I feeling super anxious this week and not connected to my work and not excited? Like, what can I do to feel more connected to what I'm doing? And focusing.
Yeah. Another great question to ask yourself would be, if there was no social media, would I still be passionate about shooting this or documenting this in this way? Mm-hmm. Right? Because a lot of the times it's like, do we want to just create those specific types of photos that we see that they're popular online in order to post them, gain likes, gain traction, to be booked so we can make money, so then we can feel successful? But then is that actually success if you're not actually aligned with what you want to do? Because then there's another path that you could take where you can actually shoot what lights your soul on fire, and it's so aligned with you, and then you post it to Instagram, then it goes crazy, then it gets likes, then you get booked for that, then you make money, and then you make money while feeling aligned. So it's like, it's literally up to you. There's two paths all the time as artists that we need to face. Is like, do I choose the path that is me trying to please other people or myself? And both paths lead to money. But like,
that's the thing, right? It's like, that's when I was all lost shooting that other style. I was still successful in making money, but I just didn't realize that I could also do what lit my soul on fire and make money. Like, and chances are you'll be probably more successful when you're in your passion, because it shines through in everything that you're doing and the way you talk to the clients and how excited you get. And I mean, it obviously becomes about more than money at that point. Like, you're having a blast and you're like, how am I getting paid for this? This is unreal. Like, and I'm having so much fun, and you guys feel like my best friends. And that was just like a really fun evening out on the lake together. And like, I would have done that if we weren't taking photos and stuff. Yeah, it's just super rewarding when you find that, and the intention that you put into seeking that out will definitely, it'll be worth it. It'll be worthwhile.
Yeah. And so I also want to touch on the point of, it's an interesting moment in time, because right now with COVID and everything, a lot of, couples are eloping and having more intimate weddings. And it's interesting because now some photographers might feel that the only way to be successful is to be elopement photographers or intimate wedding photographers, but maybe they don't feel as excited about that as maybe bigger weddings. So I know me and you, Evelyn, like I love my like 70 to 150 guest range weddings, because to me, there's just so much going on. I just get to document so many moments, interactions. I feel like a fucking squirrel on crack. I just want to like be everywhere, document everything. And that's like my happy place, right? And you love like more intimate settings, like maybe
that's not my happy place.
Exactly. So like we're opposite in that, and that's okay. Yeah. And so like, what would you say to photographers that are maybe feeling a little bit of self-created pressure based on what's going on right now, of like, maybe, and this isn't a fact, it's not like maybe it's going more into the direction of more elopements and intimate weddings, but I do still believe like when COVID finally like resolves itself, that people still want bigger weddings. There's still those people like me, like I would want that, right? Yeah. So like, what can you tell like photographers that right now feel this pressure to market themselves as elopement and intimate wedding photographers, even though maybe on the inside they know that's not what they want forever? Like how to navigate this as a business owner? Because number one, we need to make money, right? Mm-hmm. And also maybe if they're starting as a photographer, they want to like also practice and like improve their craft, but maybe they don't want to be known as like an intimate wedding and elopement photographer forever. It's this like weird moment. So like, is there any advice that you would give those photographers?
That's tough, because I feel like you should be giving that advice because you're in that. Whereas for me, I'm just like, this is so great. Like everyone wants to elope. And
that's true.
But I do like, those will come back, and all of these couples are holding off to have their big party whenever this is over. And so that will come back. And do you want to put yourself in a position where you have to then go back and start over marketing yourself to the bigger wedding clients because that's what ultimately you love to do. So that's kind of a tricky position to put yourself in. But like you said, I also understand that financially a lot of people are in a place right now where they just need to pivot to make it through so that they can do that in 2 years. So I wouldn't put too much pressure on yourself if you need to kind of rework things now. I would just make sure that you know what you're doing. So make sure that I do love big weddings and I do love the crowd and the energy at these bigger events, and I want to come back to that. But at this point in time, I'm going to put out some elopement packages because I'm sure you're more than capable. If you can capture, I don't know, I could be swaying people the wrong way. But I do also don't want you to have to go back to a 9-to-5 job because there's no big weddings happening and, you're losing out on your dream in 2 years. And maybe then that creates too much fear that you don't come back to it. Because as entrepreneurs, there's a tricky line there. And I've seen a lot of my friends in the industry have to go back to jobs, and that like breaks my heart because I'm like, oh, you need to like come back to this because the world is going to go back to normal. And I mean, I've obviously been fortunate to have created a big enough, just like a business that can survive this, but it's also been tricky for all of us. Right. But some people are just trying to make it through. So I don't know whether I would sway them away from pivoting their business short term, as long as they knew that they could come back, or maybe still share some stuff about, I don't know, because then you want to specialize. A lot of people that are booking elopements are wanting somebody who specializes in it. So you got to be careful that you don't reform your whole business to target those people, and then you lose out in the long run.
Yeah, I think the main thing to keep in mind is to just be self-aware enough to know what the end, like what is the long-term goal of your business, of your photography business? What do you, number one, want to focus on? And then maybe in this pandemic a chapter of your business, it's like keep showing those like old photos from past weddings. I'm recycling so much of my content now where it's like I'm still showing that bigger weddings are like my thing, right? And not like huge weddings, but like in between weddings. And then in the meantime, if I ever need a little like cash injection or a boost or of whatever, I can just say, I could just post something on like, for the next 3 months, I'm accepting a handful of elopements. Like, let me know if you're interested in all of that. And then obviously I'm still capable to create an amazing experience for couples, right? It's like going to be a little bit different, but not too different. It's just a matter of like how many people are there. But so maybe just keeping the foundation of your business online, showing the type of work you love to do, but then maybe having little boosts of like, by the way, right now I'm offering family sessions. Like that's what I did last year, right? Like I specifically only always show. Yeah. And I was like, I need money. So I was like, this summer offering documentary family sessions, and like people got on board and I made a lot of extra money. So I think
you did a really good job. I love your family photos. So good.
Oh, thanks. It's so funny. I'm still like in this process of like, oh, I don't want to confuse my audience and post family photos on my feed. But like, that whole like, what's it called? The age old question of Instagram. Do I create a separate Instagram account for this?
Oh, I know it.
But then the separate Instagram account, you have to, you know it well, because you have to manage multiple ones.
Yeah. And you don't want to like lose the interest of your primary audience, which is your weddings and elopements, by muddying up your feed. But then also people know who you are. I don't know. It's tough. Yeah, it's really tough. I definitely have branched out into some like brand partnerships and sort of like dabbing my feet into the whole influencer marketing thing has been sort of something that I've been dabbling in my slower season. And I'm like, oh, I always have that too, where I'm thinking, oh, is this going to deter my primary audience, which is the elopement and intimate wedding couples? So, who knows?
Yeah, it's an interesting dance.
Yeah, it is such a dance. It's the only dance I'm good at, Sarah. Just kidding.
Well, actually, I would love to. Oh, that's the only. You're so funny. No, we'll make you good at shuffling.
We will see.
Okay, so I do want to touch on, because like you're literally like, I feel like entrepreneur first. If there's anyone tuning in that is also like multi-passionate, and maybe right now they are a photographer or starting their photography business, but they also have this additional passion on the side that they can monetize in the meantime. Is there any advice that you would have on, I know this is a huge topic and it could be a whole episode on its own, but like just just anything that's on your mind or on your heart right now that you can help them feel like they can do it. They can monetize another idea.
Yeah, I mean, so much of an entrepreneur's life and businesses come from, again, who you are as a person. So all of my businesses kind of are integrated in some way or another. So it's just kind of work. So, I mean, there's probably a business that you can create alongside your photography business. Yes, you may have to make another Instagram account for it, but they all kind of work together and they're all intertwined. Like for me with my dress rental shop, that was just a natural, it was an accident. But anyways, damaged a $3,000 dress when I was teaching a photography workshop, had to buy it. Decide, how do I make my money back? Oh, I'm going to rent this dress out. Well, I can't just have one dress to rent. And then it multiplied and now we have hundreds, and it's its own little business. But it works well because then the couple wants to elope. I'm their photographer. Oh, you rent dresses? Great. I'll rent a dress. Oh, you have a cottage that you also rent for intimate weddings? Great. I'm going to elope there. And like, they all just kind of work together. So, I mean, obviously it's not for everyone, but if you're an entrepreneur at this point, then you probably have other ideas too, right? Like look at you, Sara, like you've started a podcast and now you're doing online education. There's always something that you can add to that doesn't necessarily feel like its own separate entity, even if it is like our Airbnb separate entity, but it's so like I have 7 or 8 weddings there this year that I'm shooting. So it's just like a great addition to, so not only do I have the cottage, I also have the couple eloping there, and then you're just like double dipping in these. It's a great lucrative wise, but then it's also just really fun and adds to your, especially.
I love that.
Yeah, you don't want to rely on one thing. And then, I mean, if I didn't have these other avenues, I don't know, like, would I have been able to survive during COVID when everything got canceled? I mean, especially if you live in the city and you keep going to the gray zone, what are you going to do to, help? Everybody's so interested. It's so interesting watching how everybody's pivot through this pandemic. I'm like, good for you, you know? I love watching it. And I mean, I'm sure there's tons of people that have passions and just are too scared to start maybe.
I love that perspective of like, it could be something that's already tied to your business. That's maybe an easy add-on. And also I never even thought of your like businesses as all intertwined the way you just explained them. I'm like, you're increasing the average sale of each client as well in a fun way with these additional add-ons from your other businesses, which is like so smart too. And it's all, and the whole thing is it's all happy accident. Like you just followed your curiosity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you. I didn't mean to.
No.
It feels like a little bit of robbery sometimes when it's like, oh, they're renting, but it's not, because they're all separate and they're all providing value in their own way. It just so happens that I am the owner of them all.
Exactly.
So, but it's so natural. Yeah. And when you have that platform of your photography audience, then like, what are they interested in and what are you interested in? The chances are they're probably pretty similar. So, and like my clients kind of just follow me around to all these different businesses. Like half of our rentals this summer are past photography clients or people that I know through Instagram. Like they're not random finding me on Airbnb. And it's really cool. And I think if you have something like that you've been thinking about, definitely put some more thought into, how you can kind of grow these other business avenues. And I don't know, that's just entrepreneurship, I think, in general, is we're always kind of trying to play catch up to our ambitions. That's definitely my life. I'm like, what's next?
I know, same.
Meanwhile,
I feel like it's so important to like, oh my gosh, what's the word? Not randomize your income streams. Oh my God. Have multiple income streams.
Yeah.
It's so important to have multiple income streams because I'm the same way. If I didn't start my education part of my business, I think it's been about 2.5 years ago now, like it would have been much harder for me to get through the pandemic. But because I had those things in place, I was able to make them happen. And also, if you're feeling like but I can't even in the busy season, if I'm like shooting weddings and shooting sessions, how the hell can I even have another business if I'm just stuck behind my computer 12 to 15 hours a day, editing and everything?
You need
Well,
to take
that's
care of course.
yeah, exactly. That's where
that course put me on track. I'm not even just like, she's not paying me to say this, you guys. It's not an ad.
So funny.
But truly that whole outsourcing course just like shifted my entire mindset. Like I probably owe you a free stay at the Airbnb, and as a thank you for like allowing me to take on more, because there's so many tasks that you don't need to do yourself that you just make work for yourself, and then you could be focusing on more lucrative revenue streams or just ideas that light you up, as opposed to the busy work that is not so fun. So
yeah, because if you didn't learn how to delegate and let go of certain tasks and outsource, then you probably would have no time for these other businesses. Then you wouldn't have these multiple income streams, and then you'd be making less money. Like
100%.
it's all so connected. Yeah. So if you do want to start to look at multiple income streams, step one would be, okay, first, like, what are your ideas, and think through them, and are they aligned with you? Right. And then if they are, make it a goal in a year or two or something to like make that happen. But then after that step, you need to learn how to actually outsource in your photography business. So then you can develop the skills to learn how to outsource in your other business. Because like Evelyn, for example, she needs someone to like be there at the shop, like take phone calls and, you know, maybe help package stuff up, clean the dresses. Like, why would she be doing all of that? Like, she needs to have quality time to have with her family, right? Or like live out her own life. So step two would be learning how to outsource. And then after you have like your photography business running, like, you know, a well-oiled machine, then you would go into, okay, let's focus on this other income stream and venture. And that's how you start building that like actual wealth and like strong foundation of wealth. So yeah, I admire everything you've done, and literally like I cannot wait. I visited Daughters of Indie, her shop, I think it was like last September. I was just like drooling the whole time. I was like, this is insane. You guys have to check her out on Instagram. So good. But yeah, Evelyn, oh my gosh, this has been such a fun conversation. I love that we even ended up like bonus topic, like entrepreneurship.
I know. True.
Yeah, we probably just couldn't help ourselves because we both just love nerding out on that stuff.
I'm such a fan. Yeah, I could talk forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you could think of that you want to let everyone know? I always love to like leave a space in case there's something.
I don't know. I guess if anybody wanted to reach out about anything, like I'm definitely here to chat. I love to support people in this industry. And that's kind of why I got into doing the retreats and everything like that, is because I think sometimes it can be a little bit of a lonely community, or it can feel like it is. And so just, reach out. We are not.
Yeah, she hosts badass workshops or beautiful like retreat workshops. Yeah.
Love doing that and just building community and making people feel loved and kind of, I think that's super important. And I don't know, just it can feel so overwhelming thinking of all the things you need to do. And I think that a lot of people kind of just get stuck there. And so I guess, like Sara said, one step at a time. Yeah. Setting goals, writing stuff down, and just really, not looking at it as a whole and picking away piece by piece and like task by task and goal by goal. And anyways, go on forever, but I think you get it.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. And where can everybody find you? Let us know all of your handles.
Oh my gosh. So my main handle is just at Evelyn Barkey.
And how do you spell it? Just so people know, in case there's different spellings of everything.
It's EVELYN and then Barkey, BARKEY. Okay, there's no L in there. Everyone always puts an L. There's no L. It's Barkey. Yeah.
Like a bark, like ruff,
Barkey.
Ruff.
Yeah, I'm Barkey. And then Daughters of Indie is just Daughters of Indie on Instagram. And then you should be able to find them. If you find Evelyn Barkey, you can find them.
You'll find the rest.
And then we also have our little retail store. And then our cottage is called the Rock Pine, if you want to check that out. And
awesome. Yay. Well, thank you so much for your time, Evelyn, and for letting us, pick your brain. I don't-
Well, thanks for having me on your amazing podcast. I literally do I listen to my own episode when I go home later?
You will. Yeah. So Evelyn told me that she loves to go for runs and listen to this podcast. And so you're going to have to go for a run and listen to your own podcast.
I literally said that to my friend on the way here, or when I was coming on this call. I was like, so do I listen to my own episode? Of course I have to, right?
It's so interesting. When I first launched it, I had to listen to my first 3 episodes while I was driving in the car just to see if there's anything I can improve on or anything like that. And it's just so odd. You're driving the car, listening to yourself talking on a podcast.
Well, you're into the voice messaging too. Do you ever listen to your voice message back? And then one time I was in my office and I was listening to because I was trying to make sure that I said something properly or if something got cut off, and then my husband walked in and he's like, are you just listening to yourself your voice messages to yourself? I was like, no, I just wanted anyway. So it's very interesting with your own voice. Exactly. I was it's not self-obsessed. I just needed to hear if something anyways.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Awesome, Evelyn. Well, hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and everybody reach out to Evelyn because she's amazing, and you have to go to her retreats. They always sell out, so you have to pay attention to get in on them.
I know. Well, thanks for having me, and you're just so lovely. And I admire you so much. Okay, bye.
Bye. Yay! Thank you so much for hanging out with me and tuning into this episode. If you got value out of it, please feel free to message me on Instagram at Sara Monika Photo. That's Sara no H, Monika with a K photo, to let me know. I get so freaking energized hearing from others that what I've said has had a positive impact on their lives. Also, make sure to hit subscribe to the Shine and Thrive podcast to never miss an episode. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm sending you all the productive vibes your way so you have the best week ever.